Marketer of the Day, episode 612. Build your brand mania. Increase your online audience using content marketing, social media, and cutting-edge traffic strategies with Matt Bertram.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We're chatting with Matt Bertram, CPC. He's a digital marketing strategist and an author. You can find out all about him at ewebresults.com. And Matt is an entrepreneur, he's a trainer, and he's a speaker, and he's the co-host of the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes and Ahrefs with over 3.6 million downloads. And he's a Google partner and a COO at eWebResults, which is a leading internet marketing agency since 1999. He has a book out called Build Your Brand Mania, How to Transform Yourself into an Authoritative Brand to Attract Your Ideal Customers. And he holds a really strong track record when it comes to creating positive ROI through search engine optimization, through pay-per-click advertising. He's great at web design usability, social media marketing strategy, email automation. He manages over $1.8 million of ad spend a year. So if you want to make your website really work, if you want to get traffic, if you want to grow that business, then you're going to want to listen to our conversation today. You're going to want to check out eWebResults and maybe even jot down his phone number, 832-665-8951. That's 832-665-8951. So we'll jump on in here, talk about SEO, reputation marketing, lots of fun. So what's up, Matt?
Man, quite the introduction, Robert. I appreciate it. That was a great introduction. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Want to make sure that everyone knows all of these different skills that you have. So with all these, all this craziness happening with, all the things we need to stay up to date with SEM, with SEO, with all that stuff, what's been your focus for the past 30 or 60 days or so? What do you think we need to know right now?
I think really the transition to content or video content. There's recently some data that's come out that said in like 2020, and whether or not I believe this, I don't know, but 80% of all content on the internet's going to be video content. So, you've just really seen this trend from, text and blogging to, infographics and images. Even in the ads, right? You want that movement of your eye moving more towards video. So video just tends to outperform all other types of content. Audio is doing really well. It's just really, people are getting busier and busier and they don't have time. They're consuming content, I guess, in a different way. And I think people like podcasts because you can speed them up to like 1.5, 2 times and get through the content because everybody's just getting busier and busier. But I think the real focus right now and the trends we're seeing in 2018, whether it's automation and personalization, whether it's Facebook bots, but really one that everyone can get their hands around, I think is the transition or the direction towards content.
Awesome. And I'm glad that you mentioned that video content is going to be 80% of what's out there, because I don't know if you've come across this, but whenever I mention the word content or ask someone about their content, they always gravitate towards the written stuff, towards articles, blog posts, text, Facebook posts. And I'm thinking, well, I don't think of content as text only. I think of content as, doing the YouTube videos, doing the Facebook live streams and all that fun stuff. So as far as those videos go, do you have a favorite way to do them or a favorite place to put them, or do you just make sure to put it all over the place?
Well, I can tell you that, just doing it with your phone, right? Your phone's everything now. It's a recording studio. It's, a photography studio. It's, it's more powerful than what was in the NASA ships that went to the moon. I mean, you have everything in the palm of your hand. I think that genuineness as well, I think, what's the data? 3 times more likely to believe or trustability a homemade video versus a really professionally done video. So I think some of the barriers that people feel that I'm going to stick with, say, text content versus video content is I just can't do it. It's hard to do. It's expensive, what have you. And I believe that just doing it with your phone, you're going to get a much better response. You're going to get more genuineness. And then as far as where to put it, I think Facebook and YouTube are the main two channels, but I've seen taking little clips of videos and putting those on LinkedIn is doing really, really well right now. And a lot of professionals are on LinkedIn. And so I would say video content on LinkedIn or an Instagram story, right? The new Instagram stories, the little 10-minute clips, because it trips the algorithm in a way that Facebook Live used to and going live on YouTube used to is really what's hot right now.
Awesome. I always forget about those LinkedIn videos and those Instagram videos. And I like your way of thinking here in that, number one, use your phone, just make that genuine video. That way you have no excuse. You don't have to mess around with lighting, fancy camera, editing, just have your phone and do it. And then it also seems like what I'm hearing from your answer, your strategy is sort of, you have like that two-pronged approach, right? You have, well, let's first of all post things where we're going to get the most bang for our buck where everyone is. So Facebook and YouTube, the kind of tried and true, dependable stuff, but also don't ignore the up and coming stuff because it might be a little awkward or it might be a place to post your content that you forget about, but it's also not super crowded like Facebook Live might be. And it's also not super locked down and filtered out from the powers that be, right?
Yeah, you want to kind of get in front of the wave and ride the wave, and you always got to be staying on top of what's new and what's next. That was a lot of the emphasis behind the podcast that we started 9 years ago, the Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. It was really started as a way to stay on top of all the changes that are continuing to happen with Google and Facebook and what have you, because it's constantly changing. The interface is changing. I mean, when Google AdWords shifted over, that was a big transition. Facebook's algorithm to stop showing organic versus only paid traffic, and now they might be walking that back a little bit. You got Google Plus going away. I mean, you got to really stay on top of what's current, but you also got to not forget about the tried and true methods, and all the money for the most part, if you look at the big buckets, are e-commerce, Amazon, and then Facebook and Google.
So a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
And so with all these, I don't know, it seems like I kind of have a love-hate relationship with all these things I have to keep on top of. Like, I consider myself a somewhat technical guy, but then I don't know, I get so burned out just hearing about how, our sites have to be SSL compliant, or we have to be GDPR compliant, or we have to get registered with the Google Search Console. So do you have a secret to just staying excited about some of these things? Is it a matter of like the case study, like it's fun to apply it somewhere, or how do you just avoid getting overwhelmed with all the geeky stuff?
Well, I mean, that is a concern. I can say for most people, what they probably want to do is pick a platform that they're most comfortable with and commit to that platform in a genuine way and start building your audience there. You don't always have to have your hands in everything. I know a lot of companies moved a lot of their marketing budget to social media before they really understood it. And so I think you want to take your time in some of this stuff. You want to be an early adopter, but you want to understand what the business case is or the ROI is before jumping into something. And I think to not get overwhelmed, pick one or two things that you're really comfortable with, that you feel that you can commit to long term, and do that. As far as us goes, I mean, we do have a large team, and we have experts for different things, and no one can be an expert at everything. But I can tell you, I think that there's a curiosity there with everyone on my team, and me especially, that want to see what's next and want to see how to incorporate that into our current strategy. I can tell you, when the Google Beacon came out, we got one in the mail and we were like, what is this? And then a couple of our clients pretty quickly after that started asking us the same thing. And so we did a bunch of research and we did a podcast about it. And we were totally open, saying, hey, we haven't really used this before setting it up for us, but these are the ways you can do it. And from that, we started setting up a few car dealerships to create goals when someone crossed the showroom floor, or you could get them where they sit in the car. And I think it's really fun when you have a really strong foundation to see what kind of things you can bolt on or add to your existing strategy to make it better, and to kind of do that one extra thing that not everybody else is doing to get that little bit of an advantage. And I would just say, if there's people out there that are getting overwhelmed, it really doesn't hurt to focus on your core competencies and hire an expert to help you in that area. I mean, I think that's just what I hear a lot is I'm overwhelmed. I have to do all these things. Or if they're a micro business and they're having to wear so many different hats, if it makes sense and you can see the business case and ROI for it, outsource some of it, hire a third party agency, hire an expert to do those type of things. But also, what is it? Show but verify, or there's some kind of quote out there that that's related to that. But make sure you have the right person, that you know what they're going to be doing, have some kind of concept in it, but focus on your core competency, and let the experts and what they're experts in handle it is kind of the biggest recommendation I could give to your audience.
Awesome. Trust but verify, right? I think that's Ronald Reagan.
That's what it is. Trust but verify. Yep.
Cool. So, all right. So, yeah. So what you're saying is, and so if someone out there is saying, oh, well, I've got to be on Google Places, I got to be on LinkedIn, I got to be on Yelp, I got to be on Facebook, you're saying just pick the one or two that you're already familiar with, comfortable with, that excite you. And so that way you're going a mile deep, you're not going an inch deep in all these different places. And then when something cool comes along, like a Google Beacon or Amazon Echo or something like that, then you can add on to that, and you don't necessarily have to learn it all yourself. You don't have to be the jack of all trades. You can hire someone to just do these one or two things for you. And that might even be better, right? Because that way they do this all day long. They're looking at your business from the outside in, and they can more create that message or create that content or do that targeting that you yourself as the business owner wouldn't even know to do, right? Because you're not necessarily this digital marketer, and you might not have a finger on the pulse of what those customers want from the outside looking in.
No, I think that those are some great points. I just want to emphasize, make sure there's a business case for it, and make sure that it's bringing you ROI. I mean, I'll give you one really new example. I mean, we didn't invest a lot in Google Plus, but there's a lot of people out there that did, and now it's going away completely. So all that work, all whatever it is, I don't know how it's all going to end up, but it's completely going away. So you don't want to be on just one platform or put all your eggs in one basket, but also, what was the business case for that? I mean, people were spending hours and hours and hours sharing different circles, liking people, following people, posting different stuff for the quote unquote SEO benefit that you're getting out of the, multiple ranking factors. How much was that ranking factor worth? And was it worth the return on investment of your time? For some people out there, it was. For other people, it's not. And you got to kind of think of your business as maybe a flowing stream, and you don't want to go too much against the current. So you want to incorporate things as you're moving that makes sense to amplify what you're currently doing. You don't want to, if there's something new or hot, you don't want to go way outside your scope to do it, because you want your business plan to kind of be in sync or have a certain flow to it or strategy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think this was in your book, that you always hear about how people geek out too much about the metrics, right? About how they'll play around on Google Plus and say, well, look, I got 15 pluses, or I made this Facebook post and I got 70 likes. And it's like, well, it's great that you have that number, but how does that actually translate to your goals and what you want, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's more of a vanity metric than anything else. Now, if there's a certain intent to hit a certain number, like on YouTube to hit a certain number of views to become a branded channel, or, you just need to have a goal in mind and a focus on it. unless you're doing it for yourself and you really enjoy it. And I think there are a lot of great businesses and, I guess, kind of going into the book a little bit, personal branding that through attraction marketing, you bring people to yourself because you do have a passion and you don't care what people think. So there's kind of devil's advocate on that, but you really just want to think about why you're doing certain things and not just be doing them because you feel that you have to be, or you're kind of more keeping up with the Joneses than doing anything else. And a lot of business owners I talk to are always like, I have to be doing this because so-and-so is doing this. It's like, do you know if that's even working for them? Is it working for you, or is it stretching you too thin? So you got to just, tune out all that noise and focus on what's really going to impact your business. So
that's a funny way of looking at it, that there's business A that doesn't really know what they're doing, and they're cranking along trying to look good. And then business B says, ooh, look at business A. They must be doing really well. I'm really jealous. I want to just copy what they're doing. That's not really getting them anywhere, but it's just for the vanity purposes. So you mentioned this whole idea of personal branding and attraction marketing. So can you unpack that a little and tell us what that is?
Well, some of the emphasis behind writing the book was, one is a lot of clients that we deal with are in the service-based industry, whether it be a lawyer, a plastic surgeon, an electrician, a plumber, what have you, that trades on their name. It could be also a salesperson, a network marketing person, a real estate agent. And they would come to us and they would say, hey, I'm really trying to build a personal brand. I've done a lot of research on it. I've tried this, I've tried that. It's not really working. And again, they're trying to piecemeal some different strategies together and not a consistent or coherent way. And really that comes from not having a strong foundation in internet marketing and what all the different tools in the tool belt are. And so I was getting this question a lot. And in our consultation call, and then in our next step consulting call, I was doing a lot of education on how all these pieces fit together and how you would build that. And also, I think that I come from a place where I can be an authority on that and speak from that, because we got 20 something people on our team and I have no salespeople. So we're supporting all those salaries. We're growing a business, and we're not using salespeople or the traditional methods to bring clients to us or to, close new business or bring on new customers. We're doing it all through content generation, through brand building, through content marketing, ads, all the different tools. So we're leveraging internet marketing. We're drinking our own Kool-Aid. And that's how a lot of these clients are finding us, because we got clients all across the US, even around the globe. And I thought I was a good person to speak on that, on what's working for me, what's working for clients. And that seemed to be the big question that everybody wanted to know is, how do I brand myself? How do I drive leads or business online? And, in this new economy, that's where it seemed to all be going. And I felt somewhat like a broken record, repeating myself over and over again. And so I started putting together a blog sequence or a blog series on this. And it became so robust that I said, hey, I'm just going to put together a book on this that I can give to somebody as a foundational piece that they can read before they give us a call, or if they're trying to achieve certain things, because a lot of my time was spent explaining that, and it's a lot more cost effective for them to read it in a book than to pay for a consulting session. And if they get more advanced beyond the book, we definitely have the podcast. So, the Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing has been going on for about 9 years. This is our 9-year anniversary, and we go into some really advanced stuff. So I wanted to have a resource out there that was explaining in the lay terms what internet marketing is or what SEO is without getting into all the jargon, if you will.
Awesome. And yeah, like you said, drinking your own Kool-Aid and having yet one more avenue for people to find you instead of you having to do that traditional stuff. So people might be doing a Google search, they might see one of your ads, but they also might find you through that podcast, or they might find you through that book and figure out those fundamentals from there. And just so that, in case everyone didn't hear that, the podcast is Unknown Secrets to Internet Marketing, and the book is Build Your Brand Mania by Matt Bertram. And you know what, Matt? I love hearing about the case studies, the before and afters, and hearing about how, if some business was lacking either was doing almost nothing, or they were spread too thin, or doing things incorrectly. So, but then, do you have anything interesting, like story-wise, of a business that kind of didn't have things quite dialed in, and they came to you and you just kind of revamped stuff and really made it super awesome?
Yeah, I have tons of those stories, and I think that that's the really great thing about being a full service internet marketing company is we get to see all these different niches and how people are doing things and how to maybe cross apply different things that we're learning. And really in the book, just really taking those examples when someone's reading it to see, okay, this is what that person did or where they came from, and then this is where they ended up. Also on our website, we have a case study section where we'll go through a bunch of different examples. But to give you one for the podcast, working with an electrician out of Oklahoma, came to us with a website that wasn't really understanding if he was electrician or electrical company, wasn't really generating leads online. He had listened to our podcast. He basically called us with a Hail Mary. He was like, I got X amount of dollars. I don't know what to do. This is my last shot to generate business online. So, I mean, that was like quite stressful when someone's coming to you and saying, hey, you're my Hail Mary, but I believe in you. And so what we did is we set up, and they were trying to upsell electrical box that was causing fires. There was a recall on it in houses in the 1950s. And, he was like, hey, I really want to sell these. These are big ticket items. I think that there's a real concern here in a number of areas in town and blah, blah, blah. And so we ended up setting up an AdWords campaign for regular keyword terms with some different offers, which has been highly successful for them. But then there wasn't enough demand on AdWords, right? So AdWords harvests demand, Facebook generates the demand. And so we created an ad that was basically like a community notice that let people know what was going on. We tied it to some videos to a landing page and started running that traffic on Facebook and building a sales funnel with like some email marketing on the back end. And it really took his business to the next level. The AdWords offered him consistent inbound traffic where he's grown his team. He's added vans from that one person shop. We have a great case study of a client that's been with us about 8 years now, I think. And it was a pool company that came to us where they were doing everything the traditional way, like referrals, right? Everybody does business on referrals. But if you think about it, your referral sources might be only one or two or three different sources that are 70, 80% of your business. And you really need to transition online. And that was the case here. And this pool company came to us and they were doing maybe 30, 40 pools a year or on a monthly basis. But over the year, that was like their client load. And I think they're at 600 and something, close to 700 pools now. And that whole business has grown through internet marketing. And so, a lot of people say, well, it won't work for my business or it hasn't worked for me in the past. And again, I think it's what tools were they using and how proficient the person that was using the tools were. Like if you get on there and play around with AdWords, Google would love to take your money, and they're really trying to get you to get clicks, not conversions or calls or customers. And so you got to be aware of that. And so there's different things that you can do. I mean, maybe a tangible example is a lot of people bid on their name. And when you go into an AdWords account, a lot of people are spending a lot of money bidding on their name. And you don't really want to bid on your name unless you're trying to control the like you're offering some kind of offer, you're kind of trying to control what people are seeing when they search for you. You don't want to be bidding against yourself. There's not a lot of cases where you want to do that, but that's like a tangible example of things that we go over in our podcast to maybe give your audience a little bit of a flavor for, what we're about and what we do. Was that what you were looking for, Robert, as far as like tangible examples?
Yeah, I mean, you gave a 3-in-1, right? There's the electrician, there's the pool company, there's that downfall of bidding against yourself and bidding on your own name. So yeah, it seems like the way that you explain this is that there's a few things to navigate, and if people have had trouble navigating, say, Google Ads in the past or something like that, and it hasn't worked, then and if they just say, oh, well, Google Ads won't work for me just because they tried it once, it seems like that's throwing out the baby with the bathwater. It's like, what if you never drove a car and the first time you got behind the wheel, you crashed a car and said, oh, cars must not work. I'll just never learn to drive. I mean, that would be silly, but in the way that you explain it here, maybe that's what people did. Maybe they tried to figure out the ads themselves, or maybe they hired the wrong person and then they didn't have the results they wanted, but that's not a reason to throw out the whole entire tool or give up. They just need to go about it differently.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great analogy, throwing out the baby with the bathwater. And I think a lot of people, because the industry doesn't have a lot of transparency and it's sort of a black box, people have gotten burned, and there's a lot of people out there that are doing some nefarious things. And that's one of the real things that we try to do and gear ourselves as an educational company and create that transparency so people not only get the value that they're looking for, but they understand what's happening. And a lot of times when the client's better educated, they know their business better than we do, and we can help them take their marketing to the next level, or go, hey, this idea might work. Now, and a lot of people are calling us about all kinds of different industries, and we haven't worked in all of them. We've worked in a lot of them. But like, there's always new stuff popping up. We just really did well for a water company that's, I don't know if you're getting these little water filter things on your door that are like, hey, check out if you have clean water or hard water. That it's kind of something that's new that's popped up that was getting sold door to door, and a company came to us wanting to take it online. And again, that's a really good thing to hit on, is that the internet in itself is just a vehicle of how people are already transacting or doing things already. Like AdWords is just bandit signs. Facebook is just a big, party, networking party. Email was snail mail, right? Maybe instant messenger is replacing mail. People are looking at news on different platforms, but they're still looking at news, right? And so you want to really look at internet marketing as a tool and understand what's worked for you in the past. Like, if referrals have worked for you, 84% of referral is people view it as equal to, a testimonial is 84% of people view a testimonial equal to a referral from a personal friend. And, driving testimonials, having video testimonials, having those things shared on social media is the same thing as giving someone a referral. I mean, how often, if you see a funny picture, you have a funny link, do you not send it to a friend, or you share it with them? And that's why like viral videos do so well. And that sort of thing is, people are still people, and people still are doing the same things. Just with technology, they might be doing it in a different way.
Super cool. That's a really good insight. That, yeah, it's not like the internet is this thing that just came out of nowhere and invented all these new things. It just evolved all the things that were already there and made them more efficient. And also, it's not like the people on the internet just didn't magically exist before. That they were always around, but there's just a better way of going about things. And that's it sounds like that's a really good way to make this whole process less scary. If some of these businesses out there, if they're afraid of getting more into the internet marketing and the advertising, then it would be a good idea for them to look at what worked well for them in the past because there's probably an online equivalent of what they've already had success with.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's the internet's, what is it, 20 something years old. It's still a teenager. It's continuing to evolve. Things are going to continue to change. And you just really want to figure out how to incorporate the internet into how you're doing business on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. I mean, I remember when the internet started, no one wanted to put in their credit card information online. Everybody was afraid of that. And then everybody read every email, right? Like, and getting an email was so cool. And the open rates were through the roof. And now that maybe some of that uniqueness has wore off a little bit, something new and shinier has come out, but it's still kind of the same thing. It's just a different vehicle to do the same thing. And really, in today's age, in this new economy, the internet helps you reach so many more people than you could before. It helps small businesses have a leg up, whereas before you would have to buy a big print buy or media buy on TV or radio to access thousands and millions of people. And now you can do it from one laptop and an internet connection and a blog, or a YouTube video.
Yeah, lower barrier of entry, which means that it's easier to jump in, but then it's also more competitive and also faster changing. So because the one thing we can count on is that things will change, we need to stay up to date on all these latest and greatest things. So can you share some resources with us to do that? So you have like your book and your website and your podcast. Can you tell us, if people were super duper impressed by what we talked about today, where can they go and keep this conversation going?
eWeb Results, so ewebresults.com is our website. My book site, which will be built out a little bit more, is buildyourbrandmania.com. We're selling exclusively on Amazon right now. But I would say just go to our website, request a free consultation. We give away about 20, 30 minutes of a call with the internet marketing experts, $150 something value. We'll be able to answer any questions, help you one-on-one, point you in the right direction. And if it makes sense, you can move on to our next step. But we really want to be viewed as an educational company and really enlighten people on internet marketing and how you should do things, what you should look for when working with agencies. And we have a ton of new resources on our website. There's a mini guide section. We've been doing blogs for years and years and years. So there's a lot of ways to check us out. And if we are not doing our job, then you're going to have trouble finding us online, but we're all over the place. You can also get a hold of me. My handle on all the different social medias is Matt Bertram Live. So if you want to connect with me, direct message me. Love to talk to you. But thank you so much, Robert, for having me on your show. I think you're a great internet marketer yourself, and your audience is definitely learning a lot from you. You bring on a lot of great experts. So it's an honor for you to have me on. I really appreciate it.
Heck yeah, my pleasure. Well, the honor is mutual. So the place for everyone listening right now to go, well, first of all, if and when you are ready to check out that book, that's buildyourbrandmania.com. But the number one place to go is ewebresults.com. And once you're there, click on that button to request your free consultation. So that way you can see what you need to know and you can figure out those things that you don't know or the things that you don't know. And it just makes a lot more sense to take that shortcut and to talk to a real life human being and talk to someone on Matt's team and tell them, where you're at, and tell them how your business is doing and tell them what your needs and goals are. So that way they can at least point you in the right direction and tell you how to solve some of these problems and solve some of these problems for you, because it can get really frustrating to go and take things day to day without a plan, or try to read all these LinkedIn articles or all these YouTube videos and try to keep up to date with all these differing opinions. And then who knows who you're even listening to. And they might be like the black box that Matt said, where they keep everything really hidden. But it makes a lot more sense to go to Matt and his company because they're very transparent. They'll be upfront. They'll tell you what you need to know and they'll help you get there. Whether you're in any of these crazy niches like Matt mentioned, or we mentioned like a pool company, a water company, an electrician, lawyers, plastic surgeons, real estate agents, plumbers. So even if you think that your niche doesn't apply, I mean, go ahead and give Matt and his team a call. Go to ewebresults.com and have that conversation, so that way you can get this internet marketing thing dialed in. You can outdo your competition without following them off the cliff of pursuing the likes. You actually are pursuing that return on investment. So ewebresults.com, and then Matt Bertram live on social media if you want to connect more personally. So we'll see you there. And thanks, Matt, for stopping by and sharing with us these cool tips and all these cool stories. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me on, Robert.
Go right now to marketeroftheday.com/iTunes to subscribe to the show, listen to other episodes, and rate and review the show.